the art of conversation, how can we reclaim the art that allowed differing positions, differing opinions to come together to form our country? How can we reclaim that? And it's probably spending less time on why is it not working, but concentrating on the discipline that is needed to converse with each other. And so it begins, I believe, with confidence in what we believe. I believe this is good, I believe that's bad, I believe this is right, that's wrong. So I'm fairly confident in that. But I'm also finding space to listen to somebody who says, well, what about this or what about that? And where do I find the space in myself to listen? Where do I find that? First of all, I believe that most every opinion is not a threat. Every opinion is different, but it doesn't threaten what I believe. And even if it is opposite, it sees reality in a different framework. So opposite, and that's a difficult place to begin, opposite positions, life, death. I believe in life, I believe in death. I mean, that's pretty clear. But most of the time, the discipline that is needed is the discipline of listening. And listening, not so much that I'm going to change my opinion or that I'm going to change the other person's opinion, but in listening, I communicate that I am hearing what you say. And I can even give nonverbal motions that affirm that person. And I believe that that's the beginning of reclaiming the art of conversation. And the art of conversation is not simply a sophisticated means of talking to each other. It's a real means of creating communities, a real means of creating families, a real means of creating places where people say, oh, I fit there. They heard me. They listened to me. And the art of conversation is a way of saying to each other, you count. You are important. You're important enough to listen to. I remember a story of a young man who was constantly in trouble in school, and so the teacher took him to the pastor's office, and the pastor knew a little bit more about his home life than the teacher knew, and so he was very compassionate with this young man and said, I think you should just go home and cool off for a while. This young man is talking to me in his adulthood, and he said, I wasn't even important enough to be yelled at. And I said, what? And he said, the way he heard his pastor was not compassion, but this little young man said, I wasn't even important enough to be yelled at. So it's not always listening that counts, but it's treating the other person with respect. You are important enough to listen to. And while I'm listening, not everybody has the same ability to hold back their thoughts, because some of us forget things very easily. And I had a thought and I lost it and it's gone. And so we're afraid of losing that thought. But as conversations go on, what happens is themes are repeated, ideas are repeated, and it's not so much heat as it is light. It's not so much force as it is acceptance. And in that acceptance, it doesn't mean that I have to agree. I am not forced to agree. But what I'm compelled to do is to listen. To reclaim the art of conversation means, number one, finding space in myself to hear what the other is saying. That's just the beginning.